I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item President.
Brother Simpson, or the
Joe's here. He's just stepping in the hallway.
And David Gowdy's on a first responder workshop right now. Diana Collin is on her way. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, first thing we have here is public comment. I just want to say something about public comment now. We have spent 2 town board meetings discussing the railroad, CMMR, and also pros and cons and so forth. And whatever you're going to come and say again about the railroad, we already heard, in a sense. But I would prefer that if you make the exact same comments, that you don't need to hear it. We know you are going to make a decision today on something. All right, and then maybe as a second public comment, if you disagree with what we're saying, then make it. Then come and say that's what I'm asking right now, because the last 2 times we had is monopolized the entire meeting. The railroad itself is only a tiny issue in the town of Hurley, and not going to make this into a major issue. So I prefer that listen to what we have to say at the town board, second public comment, then you can come and make a statement more or less what you want to do. At least listen to what we have to say first. Okay, is the signature? You have the list? Can you bring that up here?
Yeah.
By the way, also in attendance here, Lynn Bailey, our town clerk, John Perry, our deputy supervisor and budget director, and Mike Schultes. All right, and Matt Schultes is our superintendent. Matt Jankowski, who are you again? He's a town attorney, and Jeremy Schiffer is up here. This is Diana.
And there's Diana. Just careful of the wires. Sorry about that.
Public hearing. Public comment.
So who do you,
Kevin Smith from the Trails.
Kevin, is this about the railroad?
Mike, are you referring to the railroad or the corridor? Or
I'm referring to you with the corridor. You and the corridor.
It's about trails in the county, and I'm chair of the Trails Advisory
But
Committee.
I'm saying, are you going to be commenting about the you and the
I can
undesignated corridor?
omit mention of that specific thing. I was also going to speak to the issue on the agenda of the appointment of your rail trail committee.
Okay. Floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm Kevin Smith. I live in Bearsville. I'm the chair of the Ulster County Trails Advisory Committee. I want to just give you a little anecdote of the leadership that Hurley has played in the development of rail trails and our growing rail trail system in the county. When Hurley voted to create the Hurley Rail Trail, we didn't have a lot of rail trails in the county. And the way that came about, as I understand, because I wasn't involved back then, was that it was a real community effort and involved a lot of people from a lot of walks of life, including your highway supervisor, Linda Cook, and her husband, Wally, who became the first chair of the County Trails Advisory Committee, which did not exist until your rail trail came into being. It basically became the demonstration project for the county because of its visibility and because of its beauty right next to Route 209. People, for the first time, I think, really got to see that these weren't just some abstract notion. These were facilities that people used for health, for exercise, for their mental well-being. Flash forward, the
Irma.
I recently, in the last few months, had the opportunity to do group bike rides out of the new Overlook Bike Shop on Hurley Avenue in the former Daily Freeman building, which is now rebranded as the O&W building because it has a direct connection out to the O&W connector trail, the new trail between Washington Avenue and your trail, the Hurley Rail Trail. When we go on bike rides from the shop, we go out the back door, we go right onto the trail, we ride 5-7 minutes, we get onto the Hurley Rail Trail, we come right by here. We come over the overpass, the 209 overpass on Main Street, and we get right onto, Wynkoop Road. And in another 2 minutes, we're on Hurley Mountain Road. We're out in the countryside safely without being at danger of getting hit by motor vehicles. And when we come back, it's the same thing, either coming back the same way or coming in through the south of Kingston and using the Kingston Green Line facilities, which are also many of them protected from traffic. So I just want to thank you all for your leadership in helping really forge an initiative that became something much bigger than I'm guessing most of you imagined, and certainly than what we imagined. I just would encourage you to help support the county, go the distance. Thank you so much.
Okay. Lynn?
Tim Kelly.
Hi there, I'm Tim Kelly, 119 Griffin Drive. Thank you all for entertaining us this evening. I've laid before the board here, as many of you on the board probably have read, there's a planned large-scale lithium-ion power storage facility proposed for Hurley Avenue. And while it is not sited in the town of Hurley, it is on the way into Hurley. And I do believe, as someone that lives in close proximity to that and relies on the water that comes from the Elmendorf Spring right down the street from this proposed facility, that we should be taking opposition to this, as there's also, and hopefully our friends in the city of Kingston join us in taking opposition to this, as they have large-scale multifamily housing next door, and this site would be much more better suited for more multifamily housing and maybe a little bit of light commercial. There was always a store use in that area until there was a fire at that store. So I think that would be good. I laid a resolution before you. Just states, whereas the town board of the town of Hurley has become aware of plans to redevelop the vacant Coleman High School located at 430 Hurley Avenue in the town of Ulster. Whereas the town board of the town of Hurley realizes that battery storage is a component of a modern, sustainable electric grid based on the use of renewable energy. Whereas this facility poses fire, explosion, and environmental risks to the adjacent residential areas that are in the town of Hurley. Whereas this site would better serve our community through redevelopment as multifamily housing and light commercial, which would be much more harmonious with adjacent land uses. Therefore, be it resolved by the town board of the town of Hurley to notify the town of Ulster supervisor and its supervisor, planning board, and town board that the town board of the town of Hurley is supportive of efforts to build a sustainable grid. However, this particular location isn't suitable for such a facility because of its close proximity to residential zones. And I also can share with Gregory has already actually corresponded with me and spoken with me. I have a little white paper I've drafted. I'd like to put the finishing touches on it, but it details some of the big risks that occur with these battery storage facilities, specifically what's known as thermal runaway, which is a chain reaction that occurs when battery cells overheat, they fail, and they release energy that can then continue to trigger adjacent cells. It can lead to very intense fires that are self-sustaining, and they're extremely difficult to extinguish. I think we're at a crisis level. There's no fire substation in the town of Ulster anywhere adjacent to there. So they're going to be immediately, that's a mutual aid call to the city of Kingston or the town of Hurley every single time. So any location that's looking to do this, I think should be proposing perhaps on-site fire response potentially. And this also details some incidents, including Surprise, Arizona, which is a facility that, as of this year, there was a more large scale. But these facilities, they have an incident, it's a near miss. They have another incident, it's a near miss. And the near misses, they seem to get bigger over time with these facilities, especially as the infrastructure on these sites ages. And we're not talking about old facilities. We're talking about facilities that are 3, 5, 7 years old that are having all these near misses. The technology is not fully there. I know that the people investing in this are very deep pocketed. And I think they made it very abundantly clear, even in the Daily Freeman, that they're willing to like basically pay off the school system and other people in order to put their facility in. Well, I think 22 feet from a residence is not where this type of a facility belongs. And I hope everybody in the town of Hurley can agree with me. And I think we should lay aside old hatchets in this town over development, because I think every development that's been fought over and approved or not approved in the town of Hurley pales in comparison to what this would bring to the very road named after our very town on the way in. Thank you for your time.
Can you give me a copy?
Of this?
Yeah.
I'll email it.
Okay, appreciate
Thank you.
Oh, to the end.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak?
Kristen Sharon.
Kristen Shara, 143 Hilltop Drive. I just have a question. I was made aware that there was an issue of 2 unregistered tanks at the Hurley transfer station. I just wondered if that had been resolved or was being worked on.
It's being resolved. All right, we were contacted by the DEC, Josh Cummins from the DEC, and we filed forms to have them re-registered and then removed.
So now that project can move forward,
Which project?
the finishing the Greenway Zero Waste project up at the.
That's nothing to do with zero waste. Zero waste can go with the unregistered tanks being there, nothing to do with that.
Okay, well, that's, okay.
Yeah.
According to their letter, they said they couldn't close out
Whose letters?
our contract with the town states that we bring the transfer station into compliance before we introduce additional functions to the site's activities. This is to the building inspector. So that's all I was asking.
It's getting resolved.
Okay.
We have Mike, who's the contractor that we're having?
Jesse Hicks.
Jesse,
Somehow the transfer station never did their renewals from way back when. And, it had nothing to do with the highway department. We always do ours every year. Now they want us, because they're on the same piece of property supposedly, they want us to add those tanks to our permit. So that was a holdup. So I have Judge Hicks taking care of it and, with Josh Cummins.
right, and I spoke to Josh Cummins, and he got us in touch with Jesse Hicks, and together they're gonna work this thing out. And we're gonna be registered. Now, the last time those tanks were registered, actually, there was 2 tanks there. One was registered in 2001, and that's it. The other one's never registered at all.
Right.
The tanks were there since 1990s.
Mhm.
And they're gonna be removed.
Okay.
Just really, they had nothing to do with the highway.
Nothing with the highway.
I don't know why the DECs and getting us involved and really getting us involved, but unfortunately, we're the scapegoat.
But I think it's a misunderstanding of the relationship. I mean, it's just the things are the same
2
proximity.
different departments.
Yeah.
Right, which is,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
They
But
just see it as the town of Hurley.
Yes.
From DEC stand. I'm not defending or want to get involved. I just,
Is it from you?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
The only reason why this whole thing started is because we wanted to move the tanks.
Mhm.
That was the whole thing. And then when we filed an application with the tanks, we were told they're not registered. And that's what the whole thing, we never knew that was the case. So we are in the process of registering them. And then we gave the 30 days notice that we want removal. We've already have a contractor out there ready to accept the tanks, remove it and take the oil out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Patty Goodman? Or Patsy?
Patty.
Yeah.
I came to speak about trail connectivity on the UND, so
Oh.
at Mike's request.
Yes.
we'll pass.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, anybody else?
Anybody else wish to speak? I see 3 or 4 that haven't spoken yet. Okay. I make a motion to, I think we can make a motion to open public comment.
Right.
Make a motion to close it then. I make a motion to close public comment. Second. All in favor? Aye. Public comment closed.
We'll repeat for opening.
Okay, minutes. Now, the minutes are a bit delayed because of, issues that are not, not to blame for anyone. in that section. But we have online all the videos. And the state, and the open meeting law says either videos online for 2 weeks or the minutes online. So we're in compliance with that. The minutes will be updated very shortly and they will be online. So if you want to hear about the minutes, so watch the video.
Riveting television.
Town clerk's report.
Should we see the guards first?
Well,
Well,
First.
you do have the April, I'm sorry, you do have the April 8th, 2025 minutes to approve.
Those have been up for a while.
Huh?
Those have been posted for a while, correct?
Right. They've been posted for a while. It's more next month, but the April 8th minutes have been online available for some time. Do you want to vote on those?
yes, yeah. This is the town clerk's report.
All right.
No, so it's a second file.
Right.
Yeah, but then that's, if you guys want to vote on the April
Oh.
8th.
Have you guys, looked over the April 8th minutes?
I'd have to look at it, but.
Yeah.
All right, so
So we'll do it next.
we'll do it next time. We'll do all the
We'll
minutes.
next time.
All right, good.
Okay, so we do have our monthly report for April. We have revenues of almost $46,000 from our office, which included building department, which was 21,000, and transfer stations of about an equal amount. As far as the collecting of the taxes is concerned, you should note that taxes can be accepted until June 2nd.
Change it.
We were notified by the county that taxes will be accepted, tax payments up through June 2nd. And, we would like to post that on the town's website.
I can do that. for
And
you.
if the office is closed for some reason, we do have a box out front where people can put their payments or they can pay online.
What's the amount of the late fee at this point?
Hmm?
What's the late fee at this point?
It's $2.
2%.
$2. Oh, the late fee is, it's on the bills. It's usually 1% every month, so it's
So-
4% plus a $2 delinquent fee.
Right. I'll double check this.
So there are about 200 bills outstanding. And we'll be reconciling with the county during the month of June.
Okay.
I just want to add one thing to that $2 fee that's given there. The county sends to us all the delinquent bills. We then have to mail them out to the delinquent person, and that's the fee, that's the postage more or less.
Lynn, what happens after June 2nd? The county takes
And
it
the
over?
county takes it over, and there's much larger fees.
Sure.
involved.
Okay.
And after 3 years,
Yeah. They come for you.
so that's the,
Okay. The next one we have here is the highway department warrant.
right, they're attached,
They're attached, it's attached to the same.
right?
Mike, you want to discuss anything? Yeah.
That's just, that outlines all our expenses for the month.
All right, I make a motion to accept the town clerk's report as well as the tax warrant report from, the spending warrant report from the highway department. All in favor? All opposed? Okay. Supervisor's report. Before I get to supervisor's report, I just have a couple of announcements. We were given many rewards, grants. We were just notified in the paper. I was notified last week, but the paper finally came out with the article saying that we have been awarded 1.325 million grant from the Environmental Facilities Corporation to do a study on cleaning up the landfill. So that process, I already signed the contracts last week. It's got to go through 2 committees now, which rubber stamps them more or less, and then waiting for the money. And we want to start getting. The best part about the grant itself, the IECOM, who was doing the study, is going to charge $1 million to do the study. The $325,000 extra covers our expenses with our lawyers that we have already paid, and with corporate associates who have monitored the well. So all that money that we have paid to monitor the wells with the lawyers so far are going to be reimbursed to the town. The other thing is that we now also, this is from John Terry. The Bank of Greene County has awarded the town $1,000 for the senior citizens. Do you want to explain a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah, so there was a in previous years, the seniors in the town would receive roughly about $4,500. Over time, that's been reduced. COVID hit. They didn't have the bus trips. So, we did increase it 500 last year in our budget, but they would like to have had 3 separate bus trips. In order to do so, they were about almost $3,000 under what they needed for that to happen. So we went out and requested some grants from Bank of Green County as well as our insurance company, Marshall and Sterling, and they both gave us $1,000. So we came up with the monies for the seniors this year without having to go to taxpayers, and they were awarded just recently. So
I want to thank John Perry. I mean, this, my first feeling was, we have to give the seniors $3,000. John said, hold on a second, and he actually went through, and he actually contacted all these vendors that we have, and they all stepped up.
Thank you, John.
They all stepped up. Thank you so much.
yeah. And then
Seniors are very.
yeah, I think unfortunately, they're one of our lost, taxpayers in the community that they don't always think about. It means a lot to them. So socially, mentally, these are things that, help them get through their days to look forward to. It's just a different thing for us to do. And I think we should raise that as well next year. So just doesn't have to be. So
Just making up, they do meet the first Thursday of every month at the church at 1:30, and there's usually 100 members up there.
Yeah.
They don't meet for the summer. They have a picnic next Thursday, and then they're off just.
Okay. Thank you. Also, we received a municipal food scrap recycling grant for $61,409. This is in part thanks to Greenway and Shabazz and Josephine. The thing is though that it's a 25% match, so we have to supply $22,627.25 to get this. This is going to start getting that, what you were talking about, Kristen, about the program up at the transfer station. This is great. This is really work. And I notify Shabazz and thank them very profoundly for going for this thing. Next thing we have here is this is from the Bank of Green County. This is a grant to the West Hurley Public Library. This is to offer an art program for homeschool children. Joe LaContra is on the board there. All right, thank you. And then we got one for the Hurley Library. This is for funding for creative first workshops for tweens, teens, and for intergenerational art workshops ages 8 to 80. Diana?
the Bank of Green County really stepped up this year.
They did a fantastic job.
You might like the job on the library.
Oh, I'm sorry, and I gave it to Diane, not to go to Florida with. She's on the library board of the town of Hurley. What we need from you guys also is the name of all the trustees to give them the translation passes, okay? So if you don't mind pulling, or letting, Samara know tomorrow the names, and we can issue this passes. Or we can give it to you. Okay. The other thing is that thanks to, our grant writer, Tony Bonavis, we got a $10,000 Wi-Fi grant going through, and we've already, going to send out, we're already going to upgrade the Wi-Fi system here. All right, this is, you're trying to make a phone call here, or like, other things, it doesn't work. So this $10,000 grant is going to be upgrading the router, and the best thing about it is that the router we have right now, we're going to move over to the Early Heritage Community Center. So,
When's that files coming that you talked about?
which one?
The files, when's that files coming?
Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't, yeah.
Where are we sending you all around to?
HHCC, Early Heritage Community Center.
Great.
Okay. You all also have received your financials for the month. It's in the package.
See you on line tomorrow.
Thank you, John and Wendy. Yeah, that's
Yes.
that works.
Wendy's becoming very proficient. There's also a profit and a loss just for your,
Yeah, I see that.
for you all to review. There are some new, vouchers that did come out today. I did update four lines that have changed since you received this. So if you want, I can give you those numbers.
Which lines are those?
So you'll have buildings line 1620.4. there was a reduction and that now reads $29,645.25.
1620.
It's on the, yes, it's on the vouchers. It's written on the voucher, top of the voucher.
That one.
So you'll see them on the vouchers, but I also updated it on this sheet.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then you had, central mailing was 1670.4. That now reads $7,475.94. Registers of vital statistics, 4020.4 line. Sorry, 36.20.4 line. That now reads $7,519.64. And then
So these percentages are offset.
these percentages then will be reduced as well. I didn't do the percentages.
Sure, okay, that's fine.
Celebrations line. 50.4 line. And now we,
75.50.
yeah, celebrations.
Mhm.
That was basically reimbursement to me. $1,448.38. I think you all saw that reservation for the little additives that I had to go out and purchase. With the barbecue and stuff. Otherwise, Wendy's killing it. She's really, like I said, become very proficient in it. The only thing that would change these numbers is the reason why we don't vote on it, but to put out to public is these have not completed. You have vouchers that are out, you have checks. So our bank accounts do not reflect this. So these are for you all to go by, so you have an idea of where we are each month.
So I just have a couple of questions. One is that the way it's written, especially in the columns over budget, which is, thank you for putting this together. You guys, I know you're doing a really great job here. But just so for clarity, in case, well, I'm sure what's gonna happen is that people are gonna start looking at. Well, there are two things. There's an over budget and an under budget, and we need to be clear which is which, right?
Right.
And so the negative and the positive needs to be explained as a footnote.
So unfortunately, the QuickBooks program, this is how they do their, so that's actually a positive.
I understand that.
You understand.
But yeah, but it's not
Correct.
for others reading this document, how would they know?
They
unless
would,
they write?
they would think that we're in a negative at every
Exactly.
single one.
So the footnote, so
Oh, I see what you're saying.
the footnote is a foot, how does Wendy put in the footnote?
It should say a negative
should.
line needs.
So that's,
I
yeah.
understand.
So the only thing that I would change on this is over budget needs to also have / under budget, so that there's clarity on that. And then a footnote to explain the negative and the
You
positive.
got it.
And that's, the last thing I would say is that if you understand, since you guys are doing such a bang-up job in terms of the overall process flow, maybe it would be better for us to close off the statement a little earlier so that you can provide us with a complete document, because this is going to carry over into next month, right?
Correct. Yes.
So maybe think about the timing of how you want to complete this budget, this report.
Right. So this would be as of today,
Yes,
this morning, and then when I came in this afternoon, there was like 8 or 10 vouchers that were put. So,
so those wouldn't be included, they wouldn't be included the next month, right?
correct. Except for what I gave you tonight.
Yeah.
The updates.
Yeah, so maybe, I'm just thinking, maybe you want to rethink how we do the timelines.
Right. I get what you're saying. Yeah, no.
You right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But thanks, John. I know this is a ton of work and we've asked to do a lot.
Wendy's really been.
Yeah.
Also, the next thing is from the building department and the assessor's office. Yep, put that up.
I sure can.
All right, these are the monthly reports this is the highway, I'm sorry, this is the building department. And for the revenue for February.
That should have said April.
No, right, it's right, it's April, which is still in May. All right, so the revenue is $24,000. All right, and the revenue year to date is $66,000 here. Last year, they made it was $180,000 last year. After 2 months so far with this thing here, they're still there. All right, then the next one is the assessors report. Okay, and those are the properties that have been sale price and so forth that have been Okay with that? All right. Okay. Mike, do you want to say anything about the highway department?
So we continue on. We got finished paving Old 28 today, roughing in some of the pipes that we put up. We're gonna let that sit for a while and then pave a section of that road up from Old 28. We got Bristol Hill done. And we have a little bit of polishing up left to do on Old 28, and then we're gonna get into Joy's Lane for the drainage project. Rain's been playing havoc with us. But we keep plugging away, and we got two of the new trucks. I drove one in the parade yesterday. Which was good because the old trucks are killing us on our budget for repairs. We have to put truck 5 in the shop, and it's gonna be almost $15,000 repair bill for it, 2018. So, we're doing the best we can to keep things together. The sooner we can get a garage and get a wash bay, and we can actually clean these things off and maintain them better, will be a good thing. So we're looking forward to getting Joy's Lane started. We got to pick the machine up. It's getting serviced under warranty. There's one excavator. Some hydraulic problems with it, so we took that up on warranty. That should be back. Hopefully Thursday. Tomorrow we pick up truck 5. That was Joy's Lane was plugging away.
So let me ask you a question. You got two new trucks, replaced 2 old trucks? What are you gonna do with those old trucks?
That was all part of the deal. I'm gonna try to wait until the blacktop season. I wanna use the old trucks for as much blacktopping as we can. But, we continue on. We got the one workers out doing the shoulders of the road now. Grass is growing quite quickly this year. Tomorrow he's gonna mow the closed landfill. They pulled out all the equipment from Leach's field yesterday. Left the area. The only thing that was left was the generator, the big generator. They came in and got that. We're gonna go into he's gonna look and all that tomorrow. And like I said, we're gonna continue on. We got a couple days of rain here coming, but keep going.
I'm like, just quickly, the surplus value of the depending on the season, is there a better season to surplus them? So would it behoove us to try to surplus them now?
You're better off towards the end of the summer.
What they need for a plowing?
No, well, they need to plow, I guess.
Yeah, so in other words, you know, you get a good deal around the board.
Can I just clarify, did you say you did some paving on Route 28 and 28 and Old Route 28?
Say that again?
You said you did some paving. Was it on Route 28?
Route 28 is
Down on the
state.
other end, this whole state, right?
Old
It was just
28.
all on Old Route 28.
Anything else for discussion? I make a motion to accept supervisor's report as well as the highways.
Second.
All in favor? And any no's? Okay.
Good, seconded it.
All right, old business. Recap of the Memorial Day parade. I think it was a really good success, the parade yesterday. I thought that participation of all the marchers was great. I think typically someone made a count, an estimate of how many people were there, over 350 people
Really?
were there yesterday.
Main Street was packed with
spectators. When they all came down.
That was at town hall. You might have had more, on the roadways.
Oh, yeah.
So that was just the folks that actually came down here for hot dogs and.
I mean, all I've heard from about the parade and the excitement going on there, that it was just a tremendous thing. John Terry, again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, truthfully, you got to give kudos to Samara. She really, she puts this all together. I did a lot of the heavy lifting kind of stuff, but she really put the parade together itself. The barbecue and such down here was more on it. So kudos to her as well as the recreation department. I mean, they all came in and volunteered, busted their butts. So I appreciate it. And I think Judge Parker wasn't acknowledged. So let's give him a little shout out now. As a elected official, that's present last year.
The Grand Marshal was Diane Blakely. We have a plaque for her. She'll be coming tomorrow to take possession of the plaque and all that. And, couldn't think of a better choice than Diane Blakely as Grand Marshal. She's done so much for, town of Hurley, volunteer, quite a lot. So it's, he deserves it. Okay. 44 Main Street. We have finally got, well, we finished getting the surveyor's report, we got the plans and everything. We put out an RFP. And we're still waiting a couple of bids. We have one bid coming in.
Did they do
Sure.
today?
What's that?
What did they
It
do
ended
today?
today, right, and no bids came in. So we want, if no bids come in, we can then go out and see the contractor. And we've already contacted a couple of them. They're coming in tomorrow to get the plans. And they'll look at it and they're quite excited. You need to know the name? Okay, but again, this is something that's, we're gonna get this thing done, as quickly as possible, to get this all done. And, a lot of the, meetings that take place in town hall, so the planning board, that's why the town board, will be held over in,
Well, you're gonna have a parking issue. That's a talking issue. You're not gonna be able to do that. You have a parking issue up there. You
no,
have a
I'm
parking-
talking about, again, like planning board, or zoning board, Tony has wanted to, applicants.
No, but you've got 7 people on the board.
The
Seven people
grant
right there.
was very specific that you're not to have town functions over there that are governmental administration.
No, you
I
don't have
believe you
to.
could still have like the rail trail committees.
Those type of community committees are yes. You cannot have- You can't have somebody over there telling somebody no.
That's
Actually, yeah,
That's
I was referring to like, I was referring to the CRC, CAC committees.
Yeah.
I was trying to-
So wall and sort of
Right,
climate
yeah,
change.
things that are only those people, not where you would write a public, right?
Right.
Okay, crosswalk, I go up with the,
Sure. I have it for you.
now, crosswalk plans, it's such a simple paint job. You know, we put
Give me a
in
second.
the,
I'll get it for
And the thing is though that, the county has agreed, since this is county road, they had agreed to put the crosswalks in on certain stipulations. The first stipulation, here's the picture of the crosswalk. That is it's on the north side of Main Street, going to the east side of Hurley Avenue.
This is
Yeah,
Main
backwards.
Street. This is Main Street going toward the town hall.
Okay, so that's Main Street, and then going from west to east on Hurley Avenue is the crosswalk going through. Now, in order to do this whole thing, we have to get surveyed to do this thing. Our engineers did this thing. It turns out that when they approved us that crosswalk, came with stipulations. What are the stipulations? You need to have a sensory deprivation pad for visually handicapped people. And that is actually like a doormat with little dimples on it, which somehow, people who are visually handicapped can feel through their feet. I'm not quite sure how they're gonna cross the road though, I mean, unaided, but that's what we need to do. To put the sensory deprivation pad there, we have to concrete it. All right, and so we have to concrete 3 sides of it. And then, so now we have plans here. We are now going to, tomorrow, we're going to ask for a permit from the county. We have a couple of bids already in to do that kind of thing. And so we are going to get that going as soon as possible before the county puts in other stipulations. And we'll catch it in the morning, more or less. All right, but this is what's going to happen, Ed, and this should be done soon. All right. The issue now with Zandhook coming through, they have said that the north side, cemetery side of Zandhook will be done. They are now looking at the scope of the work to do that, and they said sometime towards the end of the year, beginning of next year, they will have the north side done. The south side is a little more problematic because we have also the water mains from Rolling Meadow Waters is sitting there. They have to be moved to go through, and then drainage issues also is involved there. And so we are working with that, Mike Schultes, Dennis Larry, myself. We're working on this project with the county more or less coming through. All right. So that's the update on Xanthi and so forth going through. Okay, the Hurley Heritage Center, that's 44 Main Street. The same thing there.
Oh, right.
Okay. The next thing, the use of the 1.76 mile section of the Ulster and Delaware Railroad corridor and connectivity on that trail, on the trail to Kingston. All right, there is, to be honest with you, I'm a little perplexed and also, flummoxed on this issue here. Because the reason being very simply is that when we had the meetings, the two meetings here, and especially the second meeting, which we had 110 people in this little room here, and 53 people spoke. 27 and 26 opposed, against, whatever. It was 50-50 split. Which means that whatever decision we make, half the town's not gonna like us. And I don't like that idea. I don't think that, especially since Jeff Collins came to me after the meeting and said, regardless of what we decide here, they will decide their county. So I asked them, then why are you here then pushing this, this resolution if we have no say in this thing? We gave, this is just my opinion, I'm talking about, but, what he has said, Jeff Collins said that this is a compromise. They're gonna bring the railroad across 28, below, Hickory Barbecue, have a terminal there, have a bike shop there, have whatever, all the businesses there. All right, we, town of Hurley, gain no benefit from that economically because that's all in the town of Kingston. The railroad now says, well, we got a better idea. We're gonna go to Basin Road. And at Basin Road, we'll put a terminal there, a bike shop there, a convention center there, everything there, which is great. But it's not in town of Hurley. That's the town of Woodstock. So the economic benefit we gain, well, there is nothing. The only economic benefit we gain basically is a portion of the sales tax that the county gets, that it shares with all the municipalities. So like, in other words, and it makes, there's no economic gain either way for us coming to the rail. And the thing is though, that the undesignated area is 1.7 miles. We only have 0.33 miles of that, 2,000 feet, right in the middle there. So like, why are we involved in this thing? I don't know. All I know is it's dividing the town, and I don't care for that. We here at the town board, we are here to heal people, heal the town, unite the town. This isn't, whatever we decide, it's gonna do the exact opposite. And the whole thing is, there's no resolution to it because we don't have a say. Simple as that. We have a resolution in the package here that was, Matt Jankowski wrote part of the resolution. Betsy Blair, she incorporated, your,
This. It's not this.
it's in there. And what the resolution calls for, and this is what, that I'm not even sure I'd like to vote on this resolution, but it calls for, no matter what is being decided, at least the trail will be there. If it's gonna be a railroad, bus trail, or just a trail alone, as long as there's a trail going on. I do have a comment on something. Right around Hickory Barbecue last week, a bicyclist riding properly on the west side, on the north side of 28, facing, not going with traffic, which is supposed to happen. He got hit. He got hit. The side view mirror hit him in the elbow. The tailpipe hit him in the leg. He was airlifted to Westchester County, Westchester Medical Center from here. We don't know, what his condition is more or less. So that whatever is being placed there, whatever a trail or rail and a trail, it's meant for people to walk, for people to bike, in a sense. Whether there's a rail on the area more or less. Wow.
Why can't they coexist?
They can coexist. They cannot what I'm saying is, the decision for us to make is going to divide the town.
Right.
And my feeling is that I don't want to divide the town, especially since we have no say what the county is going to do.
I think that's more important. I mean, it's not even that we don't have it. We have no say in this decision. This is, I don't know what this is really. I understand the problem and the concerns, but what do we have to do with this? There's no benefit. This town board can't influence this decision.
Right? I mean, you could argue that, well, the town board in a petition or in a resolution could push legislators in one direction or the other direction. But that still leaves the legislature, the legislation to make this decision. How should we posture if the idea is to keep town unified? I mean, what's the best thing for us? Circumstances. And that's where the problem, I think, you're bringing up.
I mean, like I said, the last town board meeting we had, people came up and spoke for or against it. It was split 50-50. And the thing is, I don't quite understand, and this is something that's hard to understand. It was so passionate. Everybody, I mean, it was anger, literally anger from both sides coming through here. We were threatened physically, all of us at that meeting. We were also threatened for litigation, one way or the other. This is not our problem. And that's the thing that I want people to understand, that we are not here to divide the town. We are here to represent all of you. And if all of you say half of this and half of this, hey, we walk away.
But I will say that the one half was trail only, the other half was rail and trail.
Right.
It's not like one was trail, one was rail. One is trail only, the other half is
Rail
yeah,
and trail.
rail and trail. So,
You know, there's also, one thing I found also, that the people who are for only trail, they said that you can't do a rail and trail, it doesn't work. While the rail and trail said, we can make it work. So like, you have a disagreement here and there, whether it's gonna work or not gonna work, more or less. This is a county issue. Woodstock passed a resolution saying, whatever the decision that the county makes, let it be a wise one.
There you go.
Highest and best interest.
Right?
There you go.
Let it be that way. I don't want us to get, we're trying to unify the town. This is really gonna, destroy the town. It can't be done.
It's gonna split us.
Yeah, it can't be done, more or less. This is a problem. Let the county resolve it, since we have no say whatsoever in this thing. I just don't want to see neighbor fighting neighbor. And one other thing also, at that meeting also, what I saw also, many of the people that were here were not even town of Hurley residents. You know, they were, I mean, those who commented, those who, for again, they were fucking, they weren't even town residents. And it says they're poking their noses.
like I said, it's a county issue.
It's a county issue.
Which
Let it be a
was very
county
clear when
issue.
there was people from all over the county at the meeting.
Yeah, but things are like, you know, what disturbs me that at the town of Woodstock meeting about this, there's nothing going on. Town of Kingston, nothing going on. I will say one thing, there was a resolution, 2020-55, that was passed in 2021, giving the railroad the right of way to go there. I would like that to be rescinded. I would like that to be, let the county decide one way or the other, which way.
Well, how can you rescind something when the people
can't.
that made that, decision aren't here?
The thing is, we can make a resolution to rescind that resolution. We've done that in the past. So.
Sure. It would
And
not have
actually,
to be
you and
public
John
hearing.
Kirby were
But
on the
what
board
is
at that
this?
point.
What is this
But-
resolution?
I believe we passed one last year
No,
saying
no.
the extension, or we looked at it.
Now, we look at it, but this is in 2021, right before COVID. All right,
No, COVID was 2020.
Then this is the-
20 and 21, yeah.
it was around that point there, and the railroad came in here and they asked us to do a resolution. I believe, I think it was 2021, because Melinda was,
No, John Kirby
21, it was John.
was the supervisor.
okay.
Melinda was only a
Right,
council
right.
person.
And I think it was,
Melinda, yourself, Humphreys were on the board.
right,
Yes.
right, and I think we all agreed 5-0, that to give, the railroad access.
I think it was 3-0, there was two options, but just to your point though, so it didn't matter what resolution the town made, they're not listening to it anyway, so I would just leave everything alone. Don't do anything.
That's a recommendation.
Right, recommendation of the
Just a
county.
recommendation, right?
Recommendation of the county. I just don't want to see this town divided,
Okay.
because if it's divided, then we all fail, we all lose. So there is a resolution here. I make a resolution that we don't do it.
I'll second that.
I don't know. Make a motion to not make a resolution.
Table.
And I will
Yeah, let's make a resolution after the county decides.
Well, do the same thing, whatever Woodstock did.
And maybe a
we should do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same decision.
Well, no, I don't even like that. I went to that meeting that Thursday at 2:00. It was horrendous.
Oh, that was in the county.
Yes, so I wouldn't even count the county to make it wise. I would just like to be
It's,
out of it.
yes, you know, it doesn't involve us. We have a minor, really minor role in this thing. It's 1,000 feet in the town, 2,000 feet.
Well, it's like 1,700 feet, yeah, it's in
2,000 feet, that's 0.33 miles out of 1.7.
It's tiny.
I make suggestions, let's get the county,
Right, we can all go to the county meetings and then go.
Let's see the land for the county.
so I just
I
want,
raised the bridge so we can get our trucks under it, that's all.
so my feeling is that this resolution here, we just table it.
That's it, yeah.
Like it never
There's a
happened.
resolution here. The resolution.
There are two resolutions that are related to this.
Right, the resolution there is for how,
Oh, this one, all right, right.
whatever decision is made, to have the trail.
Yeah.
Use that trail.
Yeah. But we're not doing this.
Well, you got one up.
Well,
I think we have a motion on the table.
Right.
You said you made a motion to table
I
it,
seconded
you
it,
second,
yeah.
so any further discussion? All right, do we have a vote then?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Sorry for those people who want to speak later about this, but I think, first, you still speak, obviously, but I just think the fact that, for us, this is a wise decision.
Right, why? Like you said, there's no one in that.
Yeah. All right, the new business, I mentioned the grant awards for Old Hurley and West Hurley riders. All right, now we have a thing on fences and border walls. All right, what we have here is, this is a recommendation from the ZTF, zoning task force, that happened a while back. I have here also, I've actually looked at the E code, the town of Hurley, on fences and walls. And let me just, this is the only thing that it's a paragraph long, and this is fence wall, this is, section 210-26 fences and walls. In any residence district, walls and fences up to 6 feet in height shall be permitted anywhere on a lot except where corner side clearances are required for traffic safety. In any business or industrial district, there shall be no restriction on fences or walls except on residential district boundary line where such fences and walls shall be limited to 8 feet in height and except where corner fences are required. That's the only resolution, that's the only E code we have on fences. Nothing to do here with the color of the fence, of the color of the walls. The ZTF has recommended the following things. All right. The area of fences and walls, both existing under construction, facing a neighbor's property and or a public thoroughfare must be uniform color of the natural color of the wood or material from which it is constructed. Now, I don't think we have it there.
We don't.
Well, all right, and that's all it says. That's what they want to do. This comes in because there is a complaint.
Isn't that like from 3 years ago?
Yeah.
There's a complaint on July
Yeah,
9th.
you are, yeah.
Right, right.
It's still going on right now.
I thought they painted, I thought they got rid of that.
The resolution or the.
No, that,
But even if not,
Yeah,
Well, what it was, I believe, John
agreed.
Perry, I believe you, Greg,
Yeah.
what did mediate.
Yeah. Well, yeah, right. But,
Right, but it's come up again. It's come up again.
so but that would preclude the people on this corner from putting all that those beautiful things out there every season. I mean, I could speak about it later, but.
Well, there is no precedent.
That is the whole thing.
That's
I
the
was
whole
wondering
thing.
If you're
who wrote
looking
it.
to change the zoning code, you're gonna have to pass a local
Local
law.
law.
read that again, that's it.
And
This is,
Like
this
before.
was something from several years ago that was
Right,
proposed by the
well,
zoning
and that person contacted me this year that it was not resolved yet, so.
right,
Um,
well, this is what the ZTF has suggested, the town board. This was back in 2021,
Yeah, I mean, I think since then, the fence was painted and
Yeah.
it's okay.
but it came up again.
Came up again.
That's in version complaint, you guys that complaint to us also.
I didn't receive that complaint, Mike.
What's that?
I didn't receive that complaint. That complaint should come to me. That's my jurisdiction. I didn't receive it.
Okay.
And I'm
Well,
not trying to be disrespectful, but those complaints should be
Okay.
made by statute.
okay, this came to me today.
Okay.
All right.
I'd like to have it, if I may.
Okay.
Well, formal written complaint, that was no complaint.
He got it in writing, if he got an email, that's a written complaint. Enforcement. Probably, yeah.
Okay. So what I'll do,
But what Paul was involved with any changes results?
Taking my offense.
Paul, you were involved?
I will send this to you, Paul.
I was not, this is the
No.
first, it's come to light, I'm a little surprised that you want to change the zoning over one complaint, which we don't even know if it was deemed valid. It's, to me, it's a little bit of an overreaction, let me explore, as you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I will send it to you.
Because I would rather do, I'm sure there's other
Yeah.
zoning issues,
Yeah.
I thought they all came through Paul, and he worked with that, you know.
Yeah, which I preferred, thank you for that.
Okay, the next thing here is the quote for transfer station cameras. We bought a new shed.
Yes.
We have now moved electricity over there. Tomorrow, we're moving the Wi-Fi over, cameras put in there. We weren't sure if the cameras were working correctly, because one of the cameras we took and dismantled had water. We put it back up, seems to be better. So maybe we don't need to have these posted.
Oh.
There is one camera that we might want to put, this is a camera that reads the license plates on the exit on the transfer station.
Yes.
So in case there was a disagreement or whatever, so forth, we have that down. So I think that's worthwhile. And that's about $1,500.
You should go in the trailer and also pick up people who are dumping garbage after.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's meant to be, in other words, it takes a picture of the exit, in the train station, which shows you don't get a road. So we can see people who,
But the other thing also is the same cameras are on the highway garage and they're full of water too. So they're right
And
now,
you do highway garage or the old highway?
the old highway garage.
So it's kind of
Every year.
okay,
But you still want people, you still want to be able to see that, right?
Stored.
But that's only one.
But that's something from our garage. Okay, that's kind of.
all right, so the next thing here is, yes, the next thing here is the preservation fund. We're gonna talk about this a little more later. I have just received from, Marble Town, their local laws that, Matt Jankowski has written the laws for Kingston, so we're gonna sit down and we'll discuss this further later.
About which?
This is the preservation fund.
Preservation.
Yeah, this was
Oh,
brought
okay.
up at the supervisors meeting held last week. This was brought up there. Marble Town
Right,
and Town of New Falls, those are the preservation fund.
right. We should do
So
that.
I think something that we have to look into. So we have, like I said, we have Marble Towns, I have New Falls and Massanet.
Yeah, well, there's definitely several steps. You need to have a preservation plan adopted, so there needs to be a committee to basically go through and adopt the preservation plan. Well, that's Marble Town, going through the town of Hurley. Additionally, you have to be aware that when you actually pass the law adopting the tax, that goes to public referendum. So I think this is something that you need to put some thought into prior to, you establish the fund as well. But first you have to have the preservation plan.
Can I ask, what is the preservation fund?
I describe like Marble Towns and
Oftentimes money can be used for the town to then purchase and preserve natural property and other things.
I thought we had money that we put away for buying.
Yeah, but this comes out of a tax that goes every time real estate changes hands. There's an additional tax of up to 2%
Okay,
that
That was talking about
basically the
prior, we never did it, okay,
the purchaser would be.
okay, I got you now, yep.
So it's basically adding another tax on the transfer of real estate
It's done.
and then utilizing that money.
I didn't present the credit. It wasn't.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot to be
Money away from
considered
things
for you guys.
Okay. All right, so the next thing is here, determine the unsafe building condition at 84 Cedar Street. This is a resolution. It's up on the screen. Okay. I asked Paul to come here and just, This is the resolution that
that I drafted. There was a hearing last month on this. The resolution was presented at the agenda meeting a couple weeks ago. Hopefully everyone's had a time or had time to review it in depth.
this is,
Yeah, so it's,
John, not John, I'm sorry, Paul, you want, what's the next step we have to do with this building?
Well,
We,
you guys need to basically declare it unsafe. Then you guys basically under this, you're also going to be ordering RFP. Basically, it's my understanding that at this point, given the state of disrepair, the only option is demolition.
but
Yes,
that's what.
as soon as possible.
I got a phone call, this morning, about this resolution. There were gas tanks there, with gas also.
Well, I shook several and they were empty, but since it's hazardous to walk around the entire building, there could be multiple ones that are full. I don't have any idea of the contents inside, but the building does need to come down. I'd be happy to assist with the preparation of the RFP also.
Okay, so Paul definitely needs to determine the scope of work that needs to be done. Under the resolution, you guys are resolving to have an RFP prepared for the work. And then basically, once the work is completed, to assess that against the property owner's tax.
So this is the resolution for the go ahead. to
Well,
do
that's
whatever.
Paul's job. So basically, you are affirming a determination it's an unsafe building. Then you are providing for basically the building's repair, and in the event the repairs can't be made, which is my understanding due to level, demolition and removal. Okay, so that's Paul's determination, part of his job, part of his scope of duties. You're then approving that the town shall have an RFP prepared for the work. That again is within the scope of Paul's duties to determine, okay, how is the proper way to address this building? This is the scope of work. We get the RFP out, and when that comes back, we hire whoever's necessary to get the work that's needed to be done to correct this unsafe condition.
So, Matt, should we include in the resolution, with respect to the RFP, be resolved to include the CEO on this?
Well, you can add that to the resolution, but I think given that it's within his scope of duties, that's within, naturally, it's just that you guys are awarding the RFP.
I'll make the motion.
Any discussion on this? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so be it. Okay, this one is to, resolution to appoint a rail trail chair and members. Whereas Heather Hirsch has served as rail trail chair since 2009 and will be stepping down. And whereas she has recommended Ralph Durham to take over as chair, as he has been an active member of the committee for many years and is very involved with trails at the local county level. And whereas there's additional volunteer members who have not yet been formally recognized by the town board, therefore be it resolved by the town board, the town board to approve the appointment of Ralph Durham as the rail trail chair. And be it further resolved to appoint the following members to the Rail Trail Committee: Linda Cook, Wally Cook, Kelly Esposito. That's you, right? Kelly. All right, Heather Hirsch, Dorothy Kelly, Vince Napoli, Bill Van Allen, and Jack Young. I make a motion to accept this resolution. Second. All right, discussion?
No, not you. Not me.
So we had a motion in favor and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Now for social media policy here.
Now we officially get down to business.
I would defer this.
I would, yes.
Yeah, what I was gonna say, Diane and Greg and Joe, I don't know if you've seen Mike passed along a note to you that I wanted to send to other towns, cities, villages around the state, just to get a feel.
Well,
for
that's
how
what we
they
had asked you to do the last
Yeah.
meeting, so.
Right. If that letter, if what I wrote to those places is okay with you, I'm gonna send it out to them. And then I can return responses to you as soon as possible. Does anybody have any objection to me sending that out?
No.
Okay, then I will send that tomorrow
Thank you.
and I'll let you know what responses we get.
So we're deferring.
Yeah, we should have something pretty soon.
Okay. All right, resolution to appoint the temporary coverage for deputy clerk. Whereas the clerk's office is in need of a temporary coverage for the office through August, and whereas Molly T was approved at the April 2020 at the April 2025 meeting to work as an intern, correct?
Yeah.
You got that over.
Yeah, not 2005. I don't think she was born yet.
2025 meeting to work as an intern for the town of Hurley. Therefore, be resolved by the town board of the town of Hurley to approve Molly T to work as a temporary town clerk until August 2025 at the hourly rate of $20.40, fund line 814-10.1, while performing deputy clerk duties, deputy clerk related duties for the remainder of
I
her.
think it should be in addition to her approved 10 hours. So
Right,
I would strike though with the remainder and add in
In
addition.
addition.
Right, that's right, I thought we had 20 hours.
Right.
Clerks.
And should we
We're
do
doing
it now in
some-
hours that you can do this?
Yeah, I think it says total maximum of 20 hours per week.
But now it's gonna be 30, right? 20 for the deputy clerk and 10 for her regular?
Well, I would imagine, like, the way I read it with the total maximum is referring to her 10 hours plus
10 hours.
Right, so that,
up to another 10 hours. with it.
well, then my question is, if she's replacing a deputy clerk that's already there, they get another 20 hours a week, how are we only doing it with 10?
It's like,
She was doing 10 hours.
She's
But
filling
she's
in for,
temporary.
she's temporarily filling in for Kathy while Kathy's on leave. She's filling some of these gaps in the schedule.
Right, but doesn't have to get 20 hours a week?
Kathy does. Well, they split the time between the two of them. So you could possibly do more than this if Stephanie was on vacation or something, or we both had to be away.
At least 20, or 7 doing 30.
Well,
Stephanie and I was doing more than 20.
Stephanie was doing more than 20 because together they did the 40 hours. And, you know, it's roughly half an hour. Exactly half an hour. As long as nobody went over the 40-hour work week. I just think if you give it a little more leeway. in the
Yeah,
description.
but I just don't want to lose, if you have somebody else for 10 hours a week.
Right, and then you're also gonna say, you don't want her to prefer doing one thing over the other either.
Right.
Are you looking the total maximum of 20 hours per week performing deputy clerk related duty?
That would be appropriate.
So then let's,
Change that.
so, and then we can recite all the amendments before someone makes a motion.
20 hours a week for the.
Yeah. While performing deputy clerk.
For
related duties.
deputy clerk. And, you know, she would be available actually after September if we needed her on a per diem basis.
And then the other change was the addition of her approved 10 hours.
Yeah,
right?
so there are two other changes. One is approved at the April 24th, 2025 meeting. That's the first amendment here. Then where therefore be it resolved by the town board of the town of Hurley to approve work as temporary town clerk until August of 2025 at an hourly rate of $20.40, fund line A 1410.1, while performing deputy related duties in addition to her approved 10 hours, performing intern related duties at our originally approved rate, with a total maximum of 12 hours per week, 20 hours per week for performing deputy clerk related duties.
So this is August 1st or August 31st?
31st.
Well, you might want to say that because that's
Yeah, the way I read it until August.
31st.
Right, until August would be the first, through August.
So through August of 2025.
Reason being is because, the current, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So there are the four amendments correcting the year to 2025, that the duties will be performed through August of 2025, hourly rate in addition to And the 20 hours per week is for performing the deputy clerk related duties. Do we have a motion to approve it as amended?
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion?
I
Okay.
do have one. Who's going to determine the deputy clerk duties and her intern?
PB, I guess.
Well,
If she's in our
Lynn's
office.
telling her what to do, it's a deputy clerk related duty. Anyone else is telling
You
her?
guys are already telling her what to do. She's getting 15.50 an hour.
Right, we do have her doing some.
Well, it's gonna be up to Lynn to determine.
We'll have to decide.
I suggest something.
We'll decide about how much.
So-
She's signing off on the paid
I can sign a time sheet.
on the time.
Yeah, just as long as the deputy clerk stuff doesn't exceed the 20 hours, you're in conformity with the
And she's getting,
resolution.
she's only doing the work, but that, when she's doing the 1550, it's not that big work for her, but I do the work as well.
I'm sorry, second.
Right.
Any further
Any further discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so approved. There was a discussion at the beginning about the district amendment plan.
Oh,
All right. My suggestion here is, I only knew of this on Friday, when I got two emails from residents living up there, and then I spoke to Tim Kelly, and I'm reading the article that, Bill Kimball wrote, and it says that in the article here, that the municipality has not been contacted yet.
oh,
The supervisor has not been contacted, only the planning board contacted. So nothing, so my thing is, until we know more about this, I don't want to jump the gun. When they make a decision on this thing, then we come and, make a recommendation, what we feel, or less. We don't know what the decision is.
Town board did make themselves the liaison, so they do know about
We do know, because it says here.
Mike, don't wait and make it so that you just say something afterwards.
I'm not stating you should use somebody from the public's resolution tonight. You should definitely draft your own
Right.
and your own language. However, it is moving forward.
It isn't. Sounds like it warrants further discussion and potential action at the next meeting.
Yeah, let's have a
But
recommendation
again,
for the next.
that should be considered at the next meeting.
I can't see, I mean, if somebody spends $250,000 for licenses or whatever it is that they're paying for, I suspect this is really far off already. Nobody's spending $250,000.
You need to make a decision soon.
Soon.
Next
Yeah.
meeting.
I just need to-
Memorialize all you're doing with what I offered to you was memorializing.
I would like to,
So this was offered today? Okay, so everyone has a copy, they can review before the agenda meeting?
Well, we've also asked, Tim Kelly for additional supporting evidence. He has written
Yeah.
a paper and we'd like to review that paper with the various references. If that's what, I think that's good.
And I think you should have a discussion. with the
I would
meeting.
recommend the town put it out, I would recommend you guys put an outreach out to the public, to our public of Hurley. And I would request that you receive that information, and you then present that information as a town board to the town of Ulster in support of whatever that is.
Okay.
In lieu of resolution that is stated that, you know, we want to make sure that everything is done to highest availability for the town to make sure that, you know, whatever is done, town of Hurley is involved in all the decision making, not necessarily can make decisions, but we have the ability to be a part of that. And there's many things you can take on to from this point on to be a part of it. And, you know, there's home rule, but I do believe that we have a very big savings, as well as the city of Kingston. You're gonna have droves of people, not just from Hurley.
you take the railroad?
I didn't think the railroad or
This is gonna be a type one action under seeker. Kingston's gonna be an involved agency. Hurley most likely is gonna be an interested agency. I think when you draft a resolution, you should request when they do their secret review, we're an involved agency, not just an interested agency, because Hurley has stake in the game. I live next door to this project. I'm not
Oh,
in favor
that's
of it. I
right.
commend Tim Kelly for being vocal about it, because it's gonna impact me directly, particularly if something would happen with that. I'm gonna be among the first people that are gonna be impacted as far as health, might not even be able to live there. I literally live next door.
Oh. So we could be an involved agency. Yeah.
I would suggest that the town board request involved agency status under seeker. It's most definitely a type 1 action.
Yes.
The town has to have an approval to be an involved agency over some component of the project for it to move forward.
Correct, yes.
You would have to identify that.
So Paul, you and I'll sit down tomorrow and discuss this.
I'd be happy to, at your convenience.
All right. Any other further discussion? Got anything there?
Gonna be a different subject. Any update on the 209, old 209, project? Because I noticed they did mow the one a couple weeks ago, so it hasn't been mowed since, and I didn't know, you had told me that you gave the kid 30 days and that you were in conversation with the kid, so just wondering.
Paul, we're talking about the house on 209.
Yes,
Thank you.
Garrett and I are due to touch base next week. He's soliciting bids on the pricing, removal of the building.
Good, okay.
Yeah,
Thank
he's
you.
moving along. He's working within his financial constraints.
That's okay, I just wanna make sure that we're still in touch with them, so.
Yeah, of course.
So he has already decided to take it. All right. So, yeah. you get to Paul about that. Okay. Anything else here? Anything we should discuss?
Second.
Matt?
Public comment number 2.
Okay, I make a motion to open public comment.
I don't know.
So, no?
I've been sitting here waiting to, we agreed not to talk earlier.
Oh, we're making it.
We're opening it now.
Now we're open.
Second the motion?
Yeah, we're
Yes,
open.
we're opening it now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Got Greg seconded it.
So you seconded?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Open comment, order comment number 2 is on.
You're up, Greg.
Thank Carrie, Lennox Avenue in Glenford. I will start by saying that I agree with your decision to resolve not to have a resolution from the town of Hurley. I frankly was appalled when I saw the town of Hurley agenda that suddenly included a resolution for the town of Hurley to basically support rail trail only. And I was appalled that the legislator who represents Woodstock, Glenford, and West Hurley, and is the chair of the UND County Committee, would come to Hurley. To me, it felt like putting the thumb on the scale. So and I must say, my blood pressure rose. I had to jump into action. I believe, Mike, you said you had only seen the resolution the day before. So it was a surprise to just about everybody. And I feel highly inappropriate. But now I want to switch and say, I want to stress what Diana said earlier, that one idea is a trail only. The other idea is rail with trail. And there have been feasibility studies that show that it is doable. I would recommend to the county that an independent engineer from somewhere skilled would come and do that person or that group's own study of this area of 1.67 miles. And that's my recommendation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank also, when that resolution came in, came from a council person. So any resolution comes from a council person, we put in. You know, we don't sit there and decide like, no, or yes at that point. When they recommend something like that, it's put in front of us.
Immediately, doesn't wait for the next one.
Well,
Well, why don't,
Let's put it forward for us to discuss. We can make a decision whether or not we're going to vote there or then, or defer it until.
we were, in fact, decision was made that the table, the next
Table
meeting,
it, right.
in that sense, but that was just something that we all saw.
I thought we always had to get it in like the Friday before the meeting.
Yeah.
We should.
We should, I mean, you know, that's, I was surprised too when I got here tonight to see that, I was like.
Okay, anybody else wish to speak?
Is that Patty Goodwin? Yes.
So,
Your name,
oh,
and
sorry,
address.
Patty Goodwin, and I live on Boyce Road in Glenford. And with all due respect to my neighbor Meg, I disagree with her in certain ways. Back in the day when the county made the determination, the decision about the UND corridor, they designated from Kingston up to about Hickory Barbecue as rail plus trail. And then that remaining little section from Hickory Barbecue up to Basin Road, they called it the undesignated section for a reason, because they had engineering studies and they knew that it could not feasibly have both on it. And the notion that it could be rail plus trail is really not realistic. And you can look at the existing engineering studies, including one that was funded by OSI, Open Space Institute, and given to the county less than a year ago. And if you look at that, it can explain that. I think having another firm go and do another study is a great idea. You know, you can spend more money and probably come up with the same results, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. But in any case, I think that we should recognize that rail plus trail on that section, especially if it's sort of being done by a group of volunteers that kind of are not skilled, and then the county is going to have to bear the brunt of what happens if there's failure or litigation. But it's not feasible to have both.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak?
I'd like to add that,
Somebody who already has a microphone has come up.
Well, Lindsay.
I'd like to add something to this conversation. Any kind of walking path that would get you from Basin Road along 28A to the Hickory Barbecue would be welcomed by the residents who live there. It doesn't have to be along the same corridor. Maybe there's some way to build a walkway along Route 28A that could accommodate trail users, regardless of what happens to that undesignated section. And a lot of us would really like to see some kind of public transportation happening on a regular basis between Kingston, the Ashoka Rail Trail, you know, maybe a stop and to get us to Woodstock. It doesn't, you know, that's something we'd like to advocate with the Transportation Department in Ulster County.
It's called the nature bus.
Called the nature bus. They have two
No, that's
buses.
very sporadic.
No, it's regular.
But I want to go to Woodstock at 7 o'clock at night and come home at 10. Am I going to be on a nature bus?
Maybe it's called.
And it's not year-round. Anyway, that's it.
All right.
The nature bus.
Anybody else wish to speak? Kevin?
No, I'll pass. Mike, I just wanted to add one thing with as far as your potential resolution for your preservation.
Oh, yeah.
I just want you to know that the town currently has a capital fund of $130,000 sitting for such use. To add a 2% or up to 2% tax to your tax base right now, you might want to think about that when you have $130,000 sitting in account to do exactly what we do, that we use surpluses for to add to.
All right. Again, if it's because of the town,
That's something that we have to do it.
I know. All I'm saying is, this was brought up at the SU.
Yeah, I'm just want to make you aware
Yeah.
that we do have these funds to purchase things for issues where, like, you know, we see something happening with the watershed area or something where even over here, you know, what we were looking at property, but actually by you to purchase to save the water in there. So these,
Yes.
Okay. Okay, anything else? I make a motion to adjourn at 7:30.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
All in favor?
All in favor?